Welcome everybody to the Summit Encore presentation, Connecting to Your Students Through Voicethread. We've got a few people joining us live and we're recording this for those that are joining us later. And I'd like to welcome Andre Temkin and Melany Budiman. They're both instructional technology specialists. Melany is at Sylvania campus and Andre is at Southeast. And we're going to go ahead and let them get started with their presentation. Thanks, guys.
Thank you and welcome. I think I knew a few of you. Or maybe all of you. So we are doing the Voicethread session. So Voicethread is essentially discussion area that utilize the voice or media, basically. It is integrated inside D12 Brightspace. So it's very, very easy to use. And Andre will demonstrate and show a few examples of how we could use Voicethread and set it up. And the benefit of Voicethread is you're giving presence, more presence than just text, like in the discussion area in Brightspace. So with your presence, you can have media, audio, video, and then have student reply to the discussion thread using their voice. And they can use their phone or they can use a microphone to record their voice thread. So Andre, should I give it to you and you can share your screen to show the voice thread?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Andre, work at Southeast, instructional technology specialist. Let me share the screen and take you to, you should be able to see my screen, right? So this is a part of the summit presentation. So this encore of summit presentation. And for the summit, we have created this a shell in D2L, basically course, where we demonstrate the Voicethread. And we encourage you to join us. And if Melany have a little bit of time, she can add you to this course, and then you can check out some of the examples on your own, and also you can participate in the voice thread that I'm just about to create. So as any D2L course, it's got a course home area, and if you scroll down below, you can see that I was able for the summit to create a voice thread and have it embedded in the announcement widget, right? Make it as one of my announcements. But let's go to the content of this shell. And on the first module, session information and the resources, you can find the presentation information and some tutorials on how to use Voicethread and a guide for your students as well. And we're gonna go to the second module, and which is a Voicethread samples, and just take a look at a few of the samples that we have here. As Melany mentioned, Voicethread can be used as a discussion, but you can do a lot of more things than just a discussion. You can record a video, you can make a presentation without any discussion as well. And in this simple Voicethread, instructor, which is a math instructor, is not using the Voicethread as a discussion tool. It's using more, she's using it as a presentation tool. And she created a simple PowerPoint presentation and used Voicethread for animating that.
Feed the fish, an activity to help children understand greater than or less than activity.
So pretty much this is a type of a lecture.
Like most things, fish like to eat as much as they can. So always make sure the fish's mouth is open towards the larger number.
So, and with the Voicethread, she has multiple slides, and she just using the controls records audio on top of the slides and make it presentation.
Let's try one. Count the M&Ms. Is the fish's mouth open towards the larger number?
Okay, so that kind of should give you some idea about this use. I'm going to go to the second sample, and the second one will be the one where students actually answer. By the way, all the samples that I'm using are located on the Voicethread website, and Voicethread website itself has a lot of more information about Voicethread use. And here is the another Voicethread, and in this case we have students for answering a question using a very different type of answers, and Voicethread provides us with lots of different options to make a comment. It can be done with simple text, or with a phone, or with a microphone, or webcam, or students can upload any type of media as well from the computer. So in this case, we can see that instructors was using just a simple text to ask students questions, and students, or actually one question, and students answering this question. All right. So far we're seeing the initial post, but if we start clicking on the...
Hi, my name is Tika. I reckon this is about 2 meters because one lady.
So we can see that students replies.
Hello, I think it's about 2 meters because it starts.
Okay, so this student used a text just to provide the answer.
Hello, we agree with the answer that it is 2 meters high.
This is probably done with the microphone or with the phone. And here's the one again, just done with the text. So that makes it sort of an interesting interactive assignment for the students. Okay, let's take a look at another sample. What else we have here? Fun math lectures with some comments. Okay, so here we're going to have multiple slides.
Most beaches have waves that break against them at a certain angle. Now, depending on where the beach is on the earth, the wave energy can either push the wave up the beach or down the beach.
So you can see the presentation, and he's using quite a bit of slides here and showing the slides and demonstrating the geometry of waves.
This picture was taken in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, and you can easily see the shallow angle that the waves break against the shore at.
Okay, and so on.
I hope you enjoyed this voice thread and found it entertaining and informative. Maybe the next time you're at the beach, you'll notice more than just the squishy sand and the beautiful waves.
Wonderful, excellent. So that's another way of using the voice thread, and I think we have a couple more to go over. Grammar practice. Okay, let's take a look at this one. All right, so what's happening here? The instructor created a word cloud.
Hello. Choose a verb or a word in this list or in the list in the book and make a sentence using the gerund or the infinitive. My sentence is, I love watching films on TV.
Okay, so that's a regional assignment that she created. And
hello, audience. This is what I have to say about your word cloud, which is really, really nice.
Hi, Aurea. I guess I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I want to congratulate you on your great idea. Bye-bye.
Okay, so you can see how clever the voice thread was used in this case. And one more sample. One more. That would be a practice speaking, something that we can definitely use here at PCC. So instructor put a picture of a Google map, and she asked students to provide an answer, describe how they getting from their homes to school.
Hi Jenny, this is Bo. Jenny, congratulations. You have learned so much.
Okay, so you can see some people providing information about their travels from school with the text again. Some people living.
Hey Jenny, I really liked your piece. It seems like a great way.
And you can see that Peggy is providing also a feedback on the students' comments, and that makes this discussion threaded. Okay, so I think we're done with the samples for now. Anybody has any questions or comments about the samples, something that we just covered? As I don't hear any questions, we're just gonna go to the voice thread creation in D2L. Are you ready for it?
I was going to share one instructor that I worked with that was using VoiceThread in an interesting way. She was actually a music instructor, and she had a small cohort, so I think that was helpful. And she had her students post their practice sessions, because that was part of their assignment, was to practice every night. And they would post a clip of their practice session for her to listen to. And I thought that was really helpful.
That could be super helpful. And also all the videos from, say, for these situations will be held in one place. So the VoiceThread can be very, very handy for it. Also, VoiceThread provides a privacy to students' answers. So there's a setting, and you can check the box and not make the VoiceThreads public to so other students don't see the answers. So that's also possible to do with VoiceThread. Okay, let's jump into that and create a VoiceThread. I have a module in our course, and that's where I would invite you to come and participate in the VoiceThread if you already have access to this course. So I'm going to click on a VoiceThread module, and I have already one created for the summit that we had this May, but I'm going to create a different one right now. So to start with the VoiceThread, because it's a activity that's external, and we're going to create one using this button, existing activities. So once you click on that, you can see that there's a link to external learning tools. And once you click on that, you should be able to see a couple items that we have available as LTI links. VoiceThread is right over here. So you just, what you do, you just click on the VoiceThread, and boom, that puts a VoiceThread link right here in the module, and you can pretty much put it in any module that where you want to have it. You can have a weekly VoiceThread activity, so you can create a module where you're going to have all your VoiceThread activities. It's up to you. So one of the things that you don't have to have all your VoiceThreads called VoiceThreads, so you can give it a custom name. If you click on that, you can say something like example 2 and change the title for D2L. Okay, and this is the very important page for VoiceThread, the page where we're at right now. There's 4 squares. If we click on the course view, that will be showing to our students all the VoiceThreads that assigned or shared with this class. if you click on a home area, that will take students to their home area in the Voicethread account. Something we don't want them to probably to do. Maybe something could be useful for yourself in the future if you have a lot of voice threads and you want to get to your account and manage those. Something that you might want to do in a hidden module or something like that. And most of you probably find with individual voice threads. So every time students would go to X2 activity, when they click on that, it will take them to this particular voice thread. So I'm going to click on individual voice thread now. Okay. And there's a couple things we can do here. We can either choose any of the voice threads that you already have and bring them to this course, or share them with this course, or you can create a new voice thread. So I'm going to click on create a new voice thread and demonstrate you how it's easy and simple to make a voice thread from scratch. Okay, so click on that. All right, on that step, Voicethread is asking, well, what you want to put here? Please add some media here, or drop files here. So you can drag and drop from a different screen. I'm going to click on add media. And that gives me ability to add any type of media that we can probably think of. If I click on my computer, I'm going to bring files from my computer. I have some media sources. I can put URLs and so on. As well, I can make audio recording, webcam photo, webcam video. In my case right now, I'm just going to bring a couple slides from my computer, and we'll be talking about some microphones. So I'm going to choose a picture that I'm going to be talking about and click on open. And that brings us a Voicethread Settings window where I can give it a title. You can give a description. You can give some tags, and we also can have a separate picture for the cover art if you want. If there's some other picture that you want to have different from one of the slides, you can upload that as well. I'm going to jump to the playback options and talk a little bit more about these playback options. There's a couple of really useful ones. So enable comment moderation and disable comment moderation. If I enable comment moderation, that will make this voice thread private, and you can have discussions or communication with your student inside of the voice thread, but it will be between you and a particular student and not visible to the public. You can undo that and at one point release all the particular voice threads to public as well. There's some options how you want your students communicate on this voice thread, and you can see there's quite a bit of options: text and microphone and webcam and telephone. So telephone is an interesting feature of the voice thread, and we find it quite useful, and a lot of ESOL instructors also find it useful. In this case, voice thread will make a phone call to you. You just type a number and it will make a phone call to you, and you answer, pick up the phone and provide your feedback this way, you just using a telephone. Okay, there are some more options that you can take a look at, but these two are more important that you're probably going to be wearing from time to time. And I'm going to click on save And you can always go back to these options. They are sitting right here on this corner. One thing I'm going to do also, I'm going to add another slide to my presentation, so I have at least two slides, maybe 3 slides. I'm going to put the next one. And you can see it's just loading those slides in, and I can be putting more. One more time. They don't have to be all pictures. As you can see, once you click on the add media, you can add any type of media. So I could possibly have opening slide as a opening page as say webcam video, and in this case I would be able to talk to my students and give the initial assignment. Unfortunately, I cannot do that right now because I'm using camera for communicating with you with Zoom. So anyway, I have three pictures right here, and you can edit the pictures as well. Put a different picture if you want. So I'm in the process of adding media, and then I can click on add comment, and I can add a comment. That could be done by clicking on this plus symbol over here, and in my case, I'm going to choose a microphone. And I'm going to start my recording. So this presentation is a presentation about the microphones. We know that microphones are widely used in audio recordings, and there's a few different types of microphones. So let me know what you think about this microphone. Can you recognize this one? Let me know what type of microphone is this. And as you can see, we have with Voicethread, we have some drawing tools as well. I'm going to skip to the different slide right here and keep on presenting my microphone. So I'm going to stop the recording and click on uploading button. If I'm happy with my presentation with my Voicethread, I'm going to click save. And all right, so you should be able to see now if you in this class, let me know if you see this Voicethread, and you should be able to start leaving your comments. You can add class captions as well. And I'm going to go back to the Voicethread module, and here's the Voicethread that we're talking about. Any questions so far?
Hi, Andre. I've got a quick question.
Of course.
Do you see any problem with uploading podcasts as part of the live thread?
I don't see any problem. I think you should handle MP3 files.
Sorry, Casey, I'll just add that maybe you're going to say the same thing. You can add, if you add a text comment, if you link out to a podcast, it'll be an active link directly to the podcast if you want as well.
Cool. Okay, thank you guys.
So you can see I'm clicking back to that Voicethread topic that I have created in D2L, and I want to share that with the class. That's important piece that was not didn't prompt me to do that when I was using my comments. Okay, so I want to do that for sure. Okay, so now this Voicethread shared with the class. I think so. That's important. There's 3 steps: upload your media, leave a comment, and share with the class. So maybe Melany would be able to leave a comment, so we'll be able to see how it works, the commenting. maybe you are in this class already and you will be able to go to example 2 and leave your comment. All right, so folks, any comments or questions? Let me know if you, what we can answer right now.
So Greg offered to talk about his VoiceThread that he used with his reading class. I would love to hear that if that's all right.
Yes, absolutely. Greg, do you want to share?
Sure, Andre. Yeah, if you want to share, let's see, stop sharing and I'll bring up my screen. This might be of interest to some. So I gave it a try this term with my Reading 115 class, where we read the novel There by Tommy Orange, and which is about Native Americans in current urban society today, and has a prologue in it that is full of history and names and lots of information. I had students do some research, just look up a name or look up an event or a thing or a place and talk about it then, and they just had to add something from that prologue, and they came up with actually some of them came up with some interesting things, and a few of them actually added pictures, other slides to it as well. Then I won't share any details about it, but it's interesting to see the slides that they were able to find and add, talking about the genocide that took place at Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving, completely different history from how we remember things. And I added a few things as well. For example, the old Indian head test pattern back in the 60s and 70s on TV, when they used to, when television used to stop, cut off at 11 p.m., something like that, and they ran this test pattern for the rest of the night. So yeah, just some interesting artifacts that came out of that, and students were able to comment, and many of them were shy about this, and so they some chose to leave a text comment instead. A couple of them did video, and a few were not able to participate at all. They were a little bit too shy about the whole thing, but it was worth a try, and definitely successful for some of the students. And as you can see, won't go into the names or anything here, but you can probably see on the left side the initials of the folks who left comments or observations about the prologue. So that's what it looks like. You can also set it up so that they can comment on somebody else's comment as well. Unless there are any questions. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you for sharing, Greg. I was just wondering, are you requiring students to do this VoiceThread?
Yeah, I required students to do this one VoiceThread. I wanted them to do more, but I don't know, some were a little bit too reserved about using it, getting into it. Perhaps the level of the class, many of them brand new students to PCC. Others found it, quite useful actually, and they came up with some good stuff. So I was really pleased with those who actually came up with some things. And they were not required to add a slide. Some of them just chose to do that.
And I'm just curious, how long do you set up the time limit for them to do their reply or create the new VoiceThread?
Oh, I didn't set a time limit. Well, yeah, I set a due date, yes. But in fact, it's still open, so they are still able to see it and reply now if they wanted to. I gave them, well, the whole thing was a week. So I asked for an initial reply, say after about 4 days. And then they had another 3 days to, in fact, with this one, I didn't require them to reply to others. Typically for the discussions, I do that, but I was experimenting with this, with the initial replies. So yeah, I gave them at least 4 days, and it might have been the whole week in this case. At the end, I had to scramble and encourage them to scramble a bit and actually add something.
So sorry, when you made it no longer available for them to comment, is that a setting that you did in Voicethread, or is that something that you did in D2L?
It is still open to them to comment. Actually, I didn't disable that.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, I mean, so I linked it from D2L, and so I could just remove that link, but no, there's no reason to do that. No, it's a good question, Casey. I'd have to go back in here and explore it here to see about disabling that.
Andre, I was just saying, you cannot really set the dates from inside the Voicethread. You can add dates because it is a link. You create it as a link inside the content. And if you scroll down more, there you go, add dates and restrictions. So you can add dates from here.
Yeah.
To kind of remind students when it's due and stuff. It's not exactly locking them out. I mean, if they still have the link somewhere, they could still access it probably.
If you put the end date, it will just they will just lose
disappear from the content link.
Lose it completely. But if you have a date, a due date and start date, at least that will be visible on the calendar. It will put the date on the calendar. So that could be a really good practice. But I was going to show something else that's setting for. So enable threaded commenting. That's the one that if you want other students to comment on other students' comments. Yes.
So it looks like Greg Rapp actually had a question. He raised his hand. If you want to unmute yourself and ask that question.
Thanks, Casey. This might be for later. I'm just wondering about the tools to assess the students' comments, how that might work.
Yeah, Greg, I just added a column in the gradebook and worked with it that way, added the points directly is what I ended up doing.
Great. Okay, thanks, guys.
So the Voicethread can be used as a discussion where everybody can chime in, but you can also use it as a specific assignment, so student can submit privately. But again, yeah, with the gradebook, unfortunately, it's a separate thing. So you will have to create it, the gradebook in D12 in your class, and then manually grading them.
All right, so if we don't have any questions, I think we're done with our part of the presentation. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the session. Thank you, Casey, for moderating that. Thank you, Greg, for your story about the Voicethread, your example. Thank you, Melany, as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that you do have your instructional technology specialists at every campus that can walk you through using Voicethread, that can help you set it up. And Melany, of course, is at Sylvania, and Andre is at Southeast. I am at Rock Creek, and then we have Michael Moss over at Cascade.